Renee had a topic she wanted to talk about that was way more important and serious
Right, right. To get all the
than his
stupidness out there.
foolishness.
So we're at the end of the month. This is April, and for many people, not just women, this is widely observed as Sexual Assault Awareness Month. And I want to make sure that I say that it's not just women, because men are definitely abused as well sexually, and we definitely don't want to take from that. I hate when it's just viewed as something that just happens to women, and that in itself. And as someone who's been a mentor and an advocate for sexual assault for many, many years, well over 25 years, I can tell you that it's unfortunate what happens to men, and what happens to men when they're very young, as little boys and as teenagers. And because of the stigma, they don't report, they don't tell, because they're laughed at, they're mocked, they're told that it's not real. That should be hot. She was just flirting. That's sexy. It's abuse is abuse. And so we want to make sure that we allow people to have their voice and give people space to speak, give people courage, and most of all, give them support. This is very important to. I'm a sexual assault survivor, and unfortunately, I have survived on more than one incident in my life. My first time surviving, my first time enduring it was molestation at the age of 4, and that was with. Unfortunately, through a family member until I was probably 7 years old. And what I am thankful for, and what I often talk about in my advocacy, was I said something when I was around 7, when it was coming toward an end. Parents have to be, number one, parents should always be talking to their kids about their private parts, who shouldn't be touching you, what shouldn't be happening to you. It's sure that you telling your kids what things really are. Things like, we say this joking, but pee pee and wee wee, and my cookie monster, my peanut butter pops, and whatever we may call something does not help kids
No.
find safety if they really need to tell an adult what's going on.
Well, Mom gave us that Our Bodies book, so
Right.
she
It's
was like, "No,
very
y'all gonna know what this is."
to know that if you ever need to, and you need to understand what's important to you, and you need to also teach your children very young, as young as possible, what boundaries are. And so when we were very young, one of the biggest things for my father especially was we didn't sit on men's laps, and those type of things. And you can say, well, that's just an uncle, that's a cousin, you shouldn't be on it. A girl should not be on any man's lap. No one should be, because you shouldn't be close to any man's his private parts and allowing him access to you. And for a young girl, and keep in mind, girls develop earlier these days, so it's not just that you're on his lap, but he's also now in contact with her breasts and other things too,
and other private parts. Yeah.
And to be clear, he didn't have a problem when we were a certain age us sitting on his lap. That's not.
No, it was any
That's
other.
not
Any other. That was uncles, cousins, grandfather.
Yeah. No. When we were a certain age,
that certainly
that
applied to men who wasn't related to us.
Oh no.
My father's thing was, I don't care if they're related to you.
Yeah.
A man is a man.
No laps.
And I just wish that, don't make it hard. Like, if you a man, you know that people can be predators. Like, don't take it personal if someone says, no, my kids don't sit on men's laps or anybody's lap. Don't take it personal. Just know parents are trying to protect their children. If you take it personal, you know what I'm saying, then you're not.
Why do you need a child to sit on your lap then? Why are you getting mad?
Why is it so important to you? Don't get mad about it. Just understand that it's creeps out there and you never know who is who.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Don't take it personal. Don't do that. I hate to see that.
Right. And it wasn't just sitting on laps. We wasn't allowed to be alone in rooms with the men. And again, that wasn't just random men. That was cousins, uncles, but it was, you can't be alone you can't be in someone else's car. And again, like Chantalie was saying, it is not personal. This is for protection. And we live in a very real world. If someone that you know and love becomes intoxicated, inebriated, they are not themselves as well. So if you're now intoxicated, inebriated, and this child is 5 or 15, now they're also compromised. Yeah. So we just need to keep everybody in their proper places and keep everybody's hands where you see them, and everything will be fine. So I appreciate my father being the protector that he was, and a lot of times these talks do tend to come from the mom, but our talks came from my father, and he was very direct with us and very open with us. And when you have girls, you need to be that open. And again, I can only speak from the viewpoint of a daughter or as a girl, but I am saying this applies across the board because I have sons. And so I was very open with my sons, what boundaries were, and also felt like with my sons, should no woman be touching you? Should no woman be alone with you? I didn't believe in all these play aunts and relationships that don't need to happen.
Yeah. Well, look at the news about all these also, female teachers that keep showing up.
I don't do, and we didn't do all these hugs and kisses don't need to be happening. You just have to keep things in their proper places.
You have to be aware.
Left really quickly. And for me personally, once I became a parent, I didn't have a problem making another adult uncomfortable about my child.
Exactly.
So if I feel like you're being inappropriate around my child, maybe you don't feel like it, but I'm going to help you understand how this works with my family and my kids. Exactly. So because what I don't want, and no parent should have to have, is for your child to then have to say, I'm in the number of the sexual assault survivors.
I'd rather make a few adults uncomfortable if it's between that and protecting my child or a child that I'm responsible for. Like, you'll be okay.
It's crazy. Like down here, like I'm in Arkansas, and it's crazy like how much you have to like don't make me have to argue with you about how I'm trying to protect my children, because you're not just giving me a red flag, you are a red flag.
You are the red flag.
Okay?
Because the show, you are the wink and sleep. Goodbye.
Right. So you are a whole red flag. You're not giving me red flags. You are it, bro, or sis. Like, don't make me have to, but I'm not going back and forth over why I'm trying to protect my kids.
Because I am.
No, sir. No, man. This is it. Now, if you don't ever want to see them again, just say that.
Okay. You don't have to make it dramatic and traumatic.
It's been several female teachers that have been arrested for having, which, first of all, let's be very clear about something. This is what I've been wanting to say.
Say it, girl.
You cannot have sex with a minor. Nope. That's not a word. That's not a saying.
Period.
You cannot have sex.
It's a period right there. It's a period.
I can have sex. Renee can have sex. Shadi can have sex. That's sex with an adult. That is not.
You can't be 40-something years old falling in love with a 12-year-old.
You can't use the word a teacher had sex with a 14-year-old student. That's not the right word. She didn't have sex with a student.
No,
you raped.
That's not the right word.
You raped a student. You molested a student. You took advantage of a student. You abused a student. You did not have sex. That's not a thing.
Right, and now you get to go to prison for this student.
Right. That's a thing that's been bothering me, how they keep phrasing these articles. And it's not just females. I keep seeing these phrases in articles with adults with actual children and underage people, which is different because a child is a child. Somebody that's like 15, 16 is categorized different, legal, but whatever. But I'm saying, like, that's not, you didn't have sex.
Right. That's
Like,
something different.
that's different thing.
Adults
Or
do,
else you would be getting arrested.
Consenting adults. That's something that consenting adults do. That has nothing to do with what happens between adults and children. That's something totally different.
No, like I don't care if the boy was happy about it and was dapping up friends. She was wrong.
He still
she was wrong. She was wrong.
And Angelique, you haven't said that. I think for me, I can never be good with the Mary Kay Letourneau story for that reason.
That's ridiculous.
Even though they're now married,
I thought they got divorced.
If you ever watch them in interviews, she is still the main person who talks.
Because she
always says you groomed him. He doesn't.
Because he was like, what? Was he like 14 or 15?
He was 12 the first
time. Oh, no,
remember, they had two kids.
Yeah. He was 12. Yeah.
They had 2 kids. She got pregnant the first time.
That's how she got
in trouble.
Yeah.
And then she got pregnant again while she was out on probation.
Yep.
Stupid.
And when she got out, they got married.
That's not right. That's not right.
And it was nothing anybody could do about it because he was an adult.
When you see their interviews now, he's hardly ever speaking. It's always her. She's like, well, we fell in love, and she leads the whole. And I'm like, and what bothers me was if that was a grown man with a girl, you would spot that and you would know that, and everybody.
I will never be okay with her. I will never be okay with her.
But it's not as bad because
it's the same thing.
She is a whole predator. Because I can tell you this right now. I have been the age she was by this point when she first got tagged. There is nothing about a 12-year-old that was attractive to me.
Oh, please.
A 12-year-old. Have y'all been around 12-year-olds?
Stinky.
Like when I was 16, 12-year-olds was go away.
Right.
Like, so an adult? No. 12? No.
I work with young adults, and I have 18, 19, 20-year-old young men who flirt with me because at that age you do date older women. That's unattractive to me. But 12? Are you serious?
I would not, at my age, I wouldn't even date I wouldn't even date an 18-year-old. It's not it's nothing about that age that interests me. And that they're legally adults, but I'm just like.
And she makes statements like, he was so attentive.
No, he wasn't. No, he wasn't. No, he wasn't.
So kind to her.
No, he wasn't.
More giving to her than her own husband. And I'm like, this chick, mind ain't right.
Crazy. She's crazy.
Her entire family over this boy. Because
a lot of people forget she had other kids with her husband,
and she had no access to the other kids.
No,
total custody of the other kids.
Because that's crazy.
No, that's what I'm saying. She didn't. This wasn't her. Like, she started a whole separate, jacked up, weird family with this child, and she already had kids.
That's why
3 or 4 kids. Like she had.
Yes.
She
had a whole family.
Yeah, it was messed
up. She just gave it up because she is crazy, and
I cannot stand when I hear adults say that kind of stuff. When adults are like they're attentive, a 12-year-old cannot be attentive. What you picked up on, the 12-year-old was listening to you because you were an adult. That's not attentive.
Here's the thing: like after 28 years of working with young people, he may have legitimately had a crush on you, and this is where you are the adult.
Thank you.
And you handle that, and you send him back to his.
And you shut it down.
Entertain it at all, and if you have to, you absolutely shut it down.
Yes, I have had little boys flirt, like not even flirt. But I can obviously tell they have a crush on me and say stuff, and I'm just like, no. We're not even going to play into that.
No.
We're not even going to play into that. Because that's not fair to them, and I'm an adult. So why would I even play around with that?
You have to always understand you are the adult, which
that's
means
not
you
cute.
have the responsibility. It doesn't matter how a younger child was dressed. It doesn't matter if they wanted it. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if they're walking around naked around you, doing spins and flips and whatever.
Really?
doesn't matter. You are the adult. You are the adult. They are the child. And you're gonna, as an adult, say, well, they get out of here. Don't say nothing about them. You are the adult.
Because I'm like, if it's that serious,
Don't
then
just
go
say
talk to the
wanted it.
parents
Just
and be
say
like,
they
come get
wanted
this
it and
child.
I
They're out
wanted
of
it
control.
too. Say that. Say they wanted it and I wanted it too. Don't just say
Yes.
they wanted it, because
No.
if you are the adult. You know that there's moral issues with that, there's spiritual issues with that, and there's legal issues with that. As an adult, you have to understand that. Their minds aren't even done developing yet. It don't matter what they said that they wanted, what they act like they wanted.
And I'm like,
It
my thing is this: if it's male, female, or the loose youngins out in the street, just let them be privately loose till they become legal, and then that's
right.
on
That don't got
them.
nothing to do with you.
So if they just out in the street and they constantly doing weird, mature sexual stuff
It don't have
underage,
nothing to do with you.
you just keep saying no. If you're a teacher or an authority figure, you tell the parents what's going on. And when they turn 18, that's the world issue at this point. That ain't got nothing to do with you no more. But it's not that hard to say no.
Unless you wanted to. And that's what you gotta be realistic with. That's what you gotta be tell the truth about. You wanted it too.
Yeah. But like as I said, I couldn't even like the last thing I saw with Mary Kate, I just was like, this is weird.
It's just I feel
this
the same
weird.
way. Like when you see like a 40-year-old dude or a 50-year-old dude or a 60-year-old dude with an 18-year-old.
It's like, yeah, they 18, but something ain't right.
You know, it's like you're taking their lives away. You're taking their lives away.
Yeah.
You're taking their lives away.
What I want to say, because this topic can go on and on and on all night, is when you're dealing specifically with sexual assault, I want us to shoot. I was supposed to say essay. Anyway, I'm very tired. Sorry, YouTube. When you're dealing with that, though, I want to be mindful, especially dealing with young people, because a lot of times they're too afraid to say anything. Is to when someone comes to you and tells you something has happened, the worst thing that you can do is tell them it didn't happen.
Yeah.
That you don't believe them. Because unfortunately, a lot of times it happens at the hands of someone that they know, whether that's a family member, a close friend, someone that they were dating. So that means that's somebody that you liked. You got to allow them to tell you, whether it's molestation or something that's far more violent or aggressive. And they need to know that you are a safe place. I would hope that is with their parents, anywhere in the home, parents, siblings, grandparents, aunts, uncles. But unfortunately for women, if it's an uncle and they go tell their mother, and unfortunately if it's the father and you tell the mother, they're not believed. If it's a brother, a sibling, no one's believing them. And I get that could be hard. It wasn't even a question of if I was telling the truth. They just wanted facts. They wanted the information. And then how do we move forward? What was best to help me be better? I couldn't even imagine how my life would have been different if my parents didn't believe me. And it never crossed my mind they wasn't going to believe me.
That's a good. That means they set up a good relationship with you to know.
So I'm grateful, for that. Unfortunately for me, like too many other people, as a child, that wasn't my last encounter. But what I will say is I'm grateful to the lady that I call mom. And the day she first knew something was wrong, we were watching, back then Lifetime used to have the thematic days, and the day was Child Abuse Day, which was specifically kids being molested. When Lifetime was very traumatic back then, and
yes, it was. Lifetime triggered the mess out of me.
and so with each movie, it was just unraveling me. And I didn't even realize I was acting out all day. And my mom was watching my behavior all day long. And so I will never forget her pulling me aside. And she just said to me, your behavior is really erratic and really wrong. And it wasn't, I was, screaming and hollering and kicking holes in the walls. I just really was anxious. And it said to me, what's wrong? Because I had mentioned maybe about a year before that something had happened. And she pulled it out of me. She wasn't gonna let go till she got down to the nuts and bolts of the thing.
I'm happy she did.
She's, once she got the truth out of me, she just said to me, we have to tell your dad, but it was that she was right there with me. And the funny thing, and Chantalie has said, this about our dad. He's a true protector, right? So I was afraid to tell my dad. I wasn't afraid because of how he responded to me. I knew my dad enough, and not that I'd seen him do anything. Like, once I tell him this, he's going to do something to this person. To this person. I just knew that. And so I just kind of didn't want to be an accessory.
It was some feet dangling. Okay? I saw a person. Daddy
was talking to. Is it the person from the incident?
Yes. It was at church.
Okay.
And the hands that was around the neck, and the way that I act like I was playing, like I was trying to act like I didn't know what was going on, like do. I was like, ooh, there's some serious stuff going down right here. So I kind of try to act like I was still playing around, like I didn't know what's going on. And then I saw the hands around the neck, and then the feet dangling up in the air, and Daddy making it known that you ever in your life. that was like born in my brain. But something else that I remember before that day, because it was like I kind of knew something like that was going to happen, but I knew it in my spirit because I didn't know what was going on, because I was real young, like 3 or 4. But I remember you telling Mom something, and I remember our aunt was there, and I remember kind of understanding what was going on. And I just remember saying, like, and I didn't talk a lot, but I just remember saying, like, oh, well, we got knives in the kitchen.
Oh my God. That little child that's not always.
How y'all need to handle something? Y'all need to be handled?
I was like, well, you know them knives y'all always telling me to stay away from. We get used to now, y'all. Like, that's all I was thinking, like, oh, we got knives in the kitchen. And like, I remember my aunt and Mom just, like, it was a serious moment, but they started laughing like, this girl is crazy. But I was very serious.
Like, you know what? I remember that day. I do. Now you said that. I forgot about that. I remember that. My tiny protector.
Like, I remember when you saying, like, Mom told Dad, like, in case we had to tell Dad. That made me remember an episode of Iyanla, and the daughter had been one of the daughters in his family had been molested, and the mom specifically never told the dad. Nobody told the dad. Everybody in the family knew, but not the dad. Like, they did not tell him. And Iyanla was like, why would you not tell him? And they had all these reasons for why. And she was like, you can't, that's not fair to him. He was like, all this, she was like, all this, the whole family knows. And it was like, they knew who the dude was. He knew who the dude was. And she was just like, nobody told him. Like, nobody told him what happened, who it was, nothing. It wasn't recent. It was like years ago. And they were just like, we just decided to not tell him. And y'all was like, y'all was wrong for that.
Yeah.
She was like, y'all,
She
that
was
wasn't fair.
protective.
That wasn't fair to this man. And when he found out, he was just broken.
Mm-hmm.
Because he just was
I
like,
think I
why would
remember
you
that.
not tell me?
Yeah, I saw that episode.
It was a white family. And I didn't know till later they had a son who wasn't on there. He was on intervention.
Gosh.
So the whole family was jacked up
Yeah.
from different things. But she was just like, you can't,
Mm-mm.
like her reasoning was just not good reasoning, basically. Like it just, she was just like, you can't do that to him. He can't even, like, so you made it to where he can't even protect his child, and nothing was even done for the girl. They just didn't talk about it.
Yeah.
And it just
that's what I appreciate.
was just there.
That mom always kept daddy in that position, and we always knew that. And so, like, I think back to that time, and I didn't witness what Chantilly witnessed, but I remember hearing dad tell mom about it later that night, being where I wasn't supposed to be, but I heard it. They're gonna hear this podcast later. Just be like, it's a long time ago. So it's 35 years ago. But I remember him saying to my mom, kill you.
He wasn't lying. That's exactly what he said. But he didn't just
I'm not surprised
about it. His feet
he didn't say it that
ground.
calm. He didn't say, dear brother.
He did say it calm, but his feet was off the ground. His feet was dangling. He was calm. He wasn't yelling. He was quiet. He kept his voice down because we was at church. It was after church at I ain't gonna say which church.
I know where we was.
It wasn't our, and then we
was up on the hill.
He did say those. I remember he said those exact words, but somebody's feet was not on the ground. That's why he said that. That's all I'm saying.
Well, he was told he was told he was never to come around me or speak to me again. And he didn't until I was an adult. And the only reason why he didn't,
and I remember that,
was because I spoke to him because I needed to get my freedom, and I went to him and told him that I forgave, because we are related. And I chose to do that, and I told him that I forgave him. But the other side of that was,
now you forget this for the record. You forgave him. Wasn't like y'all was out tooling over town.
And I told him after that. So I saw him when I was like 17, 18, and I told him that. Then I saw him a couple of years after that, and I had children. And I told him, so we're clear, I forgive you. You will never be alone with my children, specifically my daughter. And we're clear on why.
Exactly.
Okay.
This is just use your brain. That's what I'm saying. Somebody just use your darn brain for 2 seconds.
You don't want even to tell you we're good.
You know why.
I almost still want you along with me. So
right.
I mean, but beyond that, there was another incident that happened with a family friend when I was 10, which is kind of how all this escalated. And that person lied on me, called me a liar, said I was coming after them.
Not possible.
It doesn't matter if you're 10.
this person, he was like 15, and I totally had a crush on him, really liked him, but he totally manipulated all of that, took advantage of all of that. When all of this came out with him, it was just a total mess. Fast forward to when we had the church in Muskegon, he had gotten married to a lady who had children, and they visited our church, and I will never forget the moment he walked through the doors, because I was like, Dwight and Bernadette Lyder's name is on that church sign. You knew where you were visiting. You shouldn't have walked in this church. And I had so much anxiety. I couldn't handle being in that service. And he was told, don't come back in here again. And he never did.
Because you knew.
But I said to him on the way out, because I was an older Leah then, because I was like 17, 18. And what I think is so horrible is when predators revisit their victims and then treat them like that nothing has happened, because like we were greeting people and he specifically came to me and tried to hug me and it was like, hey, I was like, well, wait a minute.
You want to feel better, like what you did didn't happen when it did. It did.
He brought his wife to me and he was like, this is my wife. And I was so furious. And I said, the first thing I said was, does she know that you're a rapist? You know, I'm thinking now, I probably could have just walked away, but I was just like.
No, but does she know though?
Thank you. Does she know your history, sir?
Girl. She came with 2 daughters. And so I was like, nope, you crossing boundaries and she might need this information. Because what I found out about him was it wasn't just me, it was one of my good friends too.
So you have
2 years younger than me.
Nah, so this is not even a one-off no more. It's not even a one-off no more. This your pattern.
Is you. Because he was the good young man that people would allow to babysit their kids. Which again, who's got boys babysitting little girls? Anyway, messy. So I, you know, just for me to round this out, is just saying, again, just reiterating, when a child or a young adult comes to you, male or female, and says, you know, someone's been inappropriate with them in any way, allow them to speak. And they may come to you in a way that is different. Also, what I was saying again about my mom is learn to watch your children's behavior. Know your kids well enough to know when their behavior changes. My mom saw that my behavior changed, and I was 19 years old at the time. Know your kids well enough to know if you have a talkative child, if your child suddenly becomes sullen, angry, doesn't speak anymore, that's time for a conversation. Exactly. Why? Could be a mood change, or they could have suffered a trauma.
Something else.
And we, you know, I will tell you as a parent, nobody
you should look for any extreme changes in your child's behavior. And I will tell you,
as a parent, nobody wants to know that. Nobody wants to hear that. Mm-hmm. But you better, because if you don't, it's going to repeat itself. Mm-hmm. And you also set your child up to hurt themselves. Mm-hmm. To try to numb the pain. Mm-hmm. Whether that becomes cutting, drugs, alcohol, illicit sexual behavior, just whatever it is. So, you know, you want to try to find healing and help, you know, but
I'm gonna have to put all kind of trigger warnings before this video.
I know. Bloop, bloop, bloop. I'm sorry.
It's fine, but I'm just saying it's all kind of trigger warnings.
I don't look my sister tired. But allow them to speak. And like I said, when you stepped away, Angelique, you know, listen, when a child tells you it was an uncle, it was a parent, it was dad, it was mom, it was grandpa, it was a cousin, it was a family friend, you can't say to them, no, it wasn't. You don't know what you're talking about. You're lying. You were being flirtatious. You were being aggressive. Or not that person. That was the pastor. Okay.
You gotta be dumb.
That's a good upstanding person, a missionary in the church, a teacher, whoever it is.
You're sacrificing your child when you act like that.
If it's a person that you trusted and they have violated that, you have to be able to. The first thing your child should know is, I'm going to be heard and then protected.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And they have to know that. And then the next person who should know that is the person who did wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And also, like, that being down here, like, I've learned so much, but not in a good way. Like, you have to watch who automatically shuts the child down and says,
right,
they're lying. You know, kids lie. You have to watch who, like, let's say, like, you want to believe your child, but you tell somebody else about it, and they're like, kids lie. this and that, whatever, all everything to automatically just shut the child down. You got to watch that person.
Yeah. And my thing is this: kids do lie. We know kids lie. That's not the point. What does it hurt to find out? What does it hurt to ask? What does it hurt to confront?
Right.
Now, I ain't talking about these people that just throw stuff on social media and throw it out into the world, because I'm not a fan of that. But what does it hurt to say, to listen, confront, dig, get what you need to get out of it? But
kids do lie, but it's predators out there.
Yeah, so I'm saying, like, what is it like? Define, like, if you just to say they lie and walk away, that's your answer,
right? And don't do nothing. Just don't do nothing. And that's your way of what? Ignoring it, not dealing with it, protecting somebody who's a predator.
Because my thing is this. Say the child was lying, right? You need to find out what's going on with your child to lie like that. And still some other digging you need to do, because something ain't right. Really, like, if your child jump up and is lying about that, you need to go get some help, because it's something else you need to deal with.
You definitely don't just ignore it.
No.
You don't tell them that they lying.
No.
Because sometimes people will tell you a child that they're lying and know that they're not lying, but they might have been through something similar and they taught themselves to ignore it, and so they're trying to teach the kid to ignore it as well.
Yep. Because they don't want to deal with what they don't want to deal with, because they'd rather believe that the child is lying than deal with the fact that it happened to that child too.
It happened to you and it wasn't right, and it wasn't right for you to ignore it or dismiss it, or the people in your life to ignore it and dismiss it. You know what I'm saying? And if it's happening, don't let it continue. Don't let it keep going on. And a lot of it is with girls. Now, I know it happens with boys too, but with girls, it's like almost like this is what happens to us. So
yeah,
this is what happens to us. So just get over it. This is what happens to us.
Yep. Because my thing is this: how hard is it just to say, this person won't be around my child no more? Then, like, hard just to cut off that person.
Right, because it's usually a family member, usually somebody close to the family.
But I'm saying, outside of that, like, okay, well, you can't be around then. We're done.
But then that would be bringing up, family issues that nobody want to address. But it's like, why would you sacrifice your child?
I wouldn't.
For the family. Why would you sacrifice your child for the church? Why would you sacrifice your child for, whatever?
Because an adult can recover and grow. A child can't.
Yeah, adults are so brainwashed. So brainwashed to our beliefs. Or what did you do? What were you doing to make this happen? Like, are you serious? Why would you blame a child? Why, when this thing, everything was going on with Brother Polite, and everybody was saying, well, what did she do?
I refuse to call him by that name anymore a day in my life.
Everybody was saying, well, how come she can't take responsibility for what happened?
Because she's not an adult.
She was 15. She was 14. What do you mean? What do you mean?
That's what I'm saying. I don't care. Because my thing is this: it didn't happen in the house. It happened in the hotel room. So we're gonna play this game about like it just happened. It just happened in a separate hotel room with my mother.
Well,
that's not how that works.
Right. So like when people say, well, what's the girls? Now I know, I'm not saying that it doesn't happen to boys, because I know that it does, and I know it happens more than we know, because boys have an ideal like it's not bad when they're boys, or they're
especially if it's a woman.
They don't want to talk about it. So, but I do know that it happens with boys. But I'm talking about with girls. Like, they want to put so much of the responsibility on the girls. Like, men can't handle this. Men can't handle that. Men can't take this. And they put it all on the girls. What was she doing? What did she say? What was she wearing? How was she acting? She should take some responsibility in this. And I heard
she
that
should
so
take
much
zero responsibility.
with that.
Zero.
Right. Okay. But at the same time, they want to say men are the leaders. We're supposed to listen to men. We're supposed to follow men.
Well, y'all just told us that y'all can't control your own body.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. So you want us to follow y'all. You want us to submit and obey and know our place when it comes to y'all. But you're telling me you're a wild animal who has zero self-control, and you want me to submit and follow y'all. Is that what you're saying?
You can't be both ways. You can't be both ways.
Is this what you're saying?
I'm supposed to submit to you, but y'all can't control your body, your mind, your instincts.
Right.
And women have so much control over that by just being in a female body that we can usurp all of your self-control to the point you have none. But somehow you're stronger, smarter, wiser, bigger, and we're weaker, dumber, and submissive. I don't know if you know what you're saying, but I hear what you're saying, and none of it makes sense. How about you treat humans like humans and not like lions out in the wild, because you're not lions?
If you want to be the boss, pay the cost to be the boss. If you want to be the boss, pay the cost to be the boss. Exercise some discipline, some self-control. How about you do that? And then it'll be easier for us to listen to you.
And my thing is, you shouldn't have to exercise self-control. You should have enough sense and something in you that's like, oh, that's a child. That's nasty. Somebody come get this girl. That shouldn't be self-control. If your argument is especially when they're talking about like 14, 15, 16-year-old girls that's doing stuff that they shouldn't, I'm not gonna lie and say there's not 15, 16-year-old girls that's not acting like they're older and lying that they're older on Instagram doing that. But you should have enough sense as an adult to be like, no ma'am. Have a seat. I'm a grown man. Like, this should be self-control. It should just be no.
Right. So we tell our girls, don't wear this, it's men around. Don't talk like this, don't dress like this, it's men around.
And that's what
you're saying.
My thing is like, if men is that dangerous, and if other men are saying men is that dangerous, I think y'all need to go to an island by yourself, because y'all are scary. Because if y'all that out of control, well, maybe I would do much. Like, maybe y'all need to just go away. Because obviously y'all the problem. If y'all say y'all can't help yourself, shitty. I don't know if y'all hear what y'all saying, but okay.
Right.
Yeah. It's so many different layers of that insanity when you hear. Like, it's just like, really? That's what your argument is? And I ain't talking about the stories that I've heard that I know are true of the girls that lie and say they're 18, 19 and sneak in the clubs, and the dude don't know till later. Because a lot of people like, ask ID, who's asked for ID? Stop that. But like, I ain't talking about that. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the folks for a fact are not adults. And you act like you can't control yourself. No, you can control yourself. You can. It's possible. Stop playing. We're not gonna play them kind of games. We're not gonna play them kind of games with y'all. Mm-hmm. You can't keep having this argument of how great men are and this, and then I can't control myself around the female form. Just the female form in general. Because I even say it about grown women. Like, it's just, when women dress like that, you know how men are. Disgusting? Because if that's what you're saying, disgusting? It's just like, what? Like, if I saw a dude that was attractive and was like didn't have a shirt on or something, right? And I'm at the beach, or if he just out on walking down the street without a shirt on, because men are allowed to do that. I'm not gonna pout on him and be maul him. Because I think it's attractive, like
telling me ask for it.
yeah. And people are like, well, that's because men and women are different. Well, then you just told me women are better. If your argument is men and women are different, and as a female, I wouldn't do that, then you just told me women are better. Thank you.
Yeah, but at the same time, though, when it comes to, because sometimes are hyper vigilant about just watching their girl children and just watching their girl children when men are around, but that's not what we need to. Right now, we have to watch our boys and our girls, and we have to watch our boys and our girls around men and women. Yep. Because boys and girls can be victims, and men and women can be perpetrators. So we can't just act like, oh, I have to watch my girls around these men. No, you have to watch your girls around other women, and you have to watch your boys around men and women. It's you have to just be watchful, period.
Yep. But I'm like, that could be a whole other show. That could be a whole other show. I know Renee just was getting in and is you know she been out in the streets in the wild for hours and hours and hours. But don't tell me. See, my computer is saying it's time to go to bed. But
Renee wanted to make an announcement.
That's what I was gonna say. Renee wanted to, I was like, I don't know if you wanted to wrap up with the last point with what your topic was and then give your announcement, or however you want to do that.
I will give my announcement later.
How you gonna sit here and tell people you got an announcement, not get an announcement? Get an announcement.
I definitely am making my transition to Colorado in September. But the other part of my announcement I do have to make later. But it's okay. Great. It's all gravy.
Okay.
I'm gonna make it a little bit later for a specific reason, and there's a couple other people I need to talk to.
Oh, first. Okay. Understandable.
For the social medias, hear it. But my life is progressing, and I'm super happy. I haven't been this happy in a very long time, but I'm just thankful for where I am with my entrepreneurism and my business and my branding. And so this is what I thought it looks like, is making some very great trends upward and forward. So is Black Diamond Media, and have a new company that I'm starting with a fabulous partner for Team Loud Media, and so and a project that we're working on, and just a lot of great things happening. So but me moving to Colorado does not mean have anything to do with the show, because
no, we would have said that if it was ending.
So when the time comes we'll figure out how to incorporate all that into the show. But I will say, since it's almost May, we are 2 months from our first year anniversary, and so we need to be making announcements on what's coming on with that more than anything.
Yeah, our next meeting we'll talk about it. Plan that.
Letting you all know what that is going to be, and I'm super excited about that. So that being said, this has been a fabulous show. I wasn't real sure where this conversation was going to go, but I'm glad that we kind of got off into it, and we need to get a little bit deeper into it, because it's a conversation that needs to be had continuously. So again, just stay aware and stay supportive of those who have survived. I'm thankful that I have survived. I'm thankful that I'm on the other side of it, and I can say that that I'm good, and I believe that I'm healed, that there's no residual issues and traumas, and I've been blessed to become an advocate and help to other women. I don't really advocate with men. That's my choice. I do. I should say I don't do a lot of mentoring with men. I'll advocate for somebody who needs to be advocated for and helping anyone get help that needs it. But I kind of think with things that are sexual and personal,
I think you kind of be careful with that.
So I think that men should help men and women should help women. That's my personal opinion. Because when you get deep down into it, that's just a lot that has a lot of time to be opened. So
and it's different feelings that come from that.
Continue to keep the dialogue open, and as I say, listen and support and help. So that being said, ladies, it's been wonderful to catch up with you, and we will see you all in 2 weeks, which will be Mother's Day weekend. So, I look forward to the show at that time. So we're going to go ahead and say good night. I am Leah.
I'm Shani.
And I'm Angelique. And I will say, even though we're doing it 2 weeks, we are working on having diversified content where you will see separate of us with other people doing different things on our channel where we're doing different formats. So just look for other content from us and we'll be around.
Thank you for allowing our family to be your family, and you have a wonderful night.
Bye, y'all.